Criswell here at Thomasdale High School, where it was defense domination by L.C. Bird tonight. The Battle of Chester, all Skyhawks, 35-7, 3 defensive touchdowns for Bird.
Probably not the execution. Either coach was looking on either side of the football, but obviously Bird managed to capitalize on 3 colossal mistakes that Thomasdale had, but they were good defensive heads up, good diagnosis, good play calling, blitz packages, nice interception by Elliott. But no, this was not an offensive masterpiece. There was not a whole lot of offense, despite the 42 points, not a whole lot of offense to be seen.
Richard Ashby and Isaiah Moore really set the tone for this Bird defense, piling up over 20 tackles between them.
And Bird's defense is faster than it has been in the past. I don't think they show a vulnerability to the power running game, because I think Thomasdale's offensive line is good enough that they would have exposed that. This is just a good, solid, experienced defensive team. And when you're experienced, you don't worry about situations. You don't worry about your offense sputtering. You don't worry about field position. You go out and get things done.
Bird 2-0, issues on offense that they'll get worked out. J.B. Wright's doing fine. Jalen Elliott's got to find himself. But good to have issues when you're 2-0 and got a defense that's really taking care of business.
And I think what Coach Bedwell said in post-game interviews was probably valid too, that he got out a little bit of rhythm and they lost the balance and the element of surprise, if you will, with the play-action passing that they have. But that's still, it was not great execution when the game was still very much in doubt. That's when most of their pass play miscues occurred, and that's some concern. But like you said, they've got weeks to figure that out.
Thomasdale's defense is part of the reason Bird offense struggled tonight. The defense is very good. The offense showed us glimpses at times when they started mixing it up with some of the passes out in the flat and some of the different running plays. They got some things going on offense, but couldn't sustain it for long periods of time. But there's something there Kevin Tucker can work with.
Oh yeah, and if you cut on the first quarter, they showed what their game plan had in store for the Bird offense. Short passes, this 3-step drop looked very much in rhythm. It was only when they found themselves in obvious passing situations they couldn't do anything with the Bird packages, and that's something hard to instill in a quarterback. If the hot receiver is there, I didn't see it. And more importantly, the quarterback didn't see it. So that's things with experience. But the young guy in at quarterback at Thomasdale showed some glimpses. They showed some wide receiver speed. Their backs didn't have a whole lot of room to run with, but like I said, they'll be very, very competitive down the stretch.
Elsewhere, big wins tonight for Highland Springs, for Hermitage, and for Henrico opening the season over Godwin. But very impressive performance tonight. Hanover goes to Dinwiddie and beats the Generals.
And that was probably the best matchup, even though neither one of those teams, they're on the outside or just barely in the top 10. And I think rightfully so. It's a little bit of mystery, and it's still going to be a little bit of a mystery because you got 2 teams that are rebuilding. But that's a huge win for Hanover. Anytime you go that far out of your district, long bus trip, either the extreme ends, northern, southern ends of district, of 5A conference, anytime you can do that, it's a confidence builder. It will help them as they go into some big games they have down the stretch. I believe they take a tour of Henrico. I think they take a tour of western Henrico County in the coming weeks.
Hanover has served notice that it's going to be heard from as the season goes on, and will be heard from as well. We've got a season full of games to come, and no one covers high school football like iHeartMedia on Fox Sports 910 or 96.1 The Planet. He's Gary Criswell. I'm Gary Hess.